Namaste. Welcome to biology class. In the topic biomolecules, we were learning about the pentose sugars and also the disaccharides. Trisaccharides are the ones which are actually made up of 3 mono units. The best example is raffinose, which is made up of glucose, fructose and galactose. The sugars which are made up of 3 to 8 mono units, they are generally called as oligosaccharides. Today we will be learning about the classification of polysaccharides. Now what are these polysaccharides? Polysaccharides are the ones which are made up of thousands of mono units. So let us learn their classification in detail in today's video. Now, coming to these polysaccharides, there are basically 2 different types of classifications for these polysaccharides. The first one is based on the mono unit with which they are actually made up of. Either they are made up of the same or the different mono units. So, the first one is homopolysaccharide. So, homopolysaccharide. Homo itself means same. And these polysaccharides are made up of same mono units. For example, starch and cellulose. They are basically made up of same mono units, that is nothing but glucose. Now, coming to the next one is heteropolysaccharide. The word hetero itself denotes that it is different. It is made up of, these polysaccharides are made up of different mono units. Like the example is hemicellulose. It is made up of different types of mono units like xylulose, arabinose, galactose, glucose and so on. Now, this is about the first classification. Coming to the second one, it is basically based on the function of that particular polysaccharide. The first is the storage polysaccharide. That means they usually store the food or any other substances. The best example for this is starch. So, this is a storage polysaccharide. The starch is in the form of, the food is stored in the form of starch in case of plants. Then coming to the structural polysaccharides. These polysaccharides usually help in the formation of the cell structure. The best example is cellulose. So, cellulose is one of the very essential component of the cell wall. So, it is helping in the formation of the structure of the cell. That is why it is called as a structural polysaccharide. Now, let us know in detail about starch. Starch is a storage polysaccharide as food is stored in the form of starch, and it is also homopolysaccharide because we have learned that homopolysaccharides are nothing but they are made up of same mono units. Starch is made up of same mono unit, that is nothing but glucose. Usually, starch has got 2 components. They are amylose and amylopectin. These amylose and amylopectin are one of the major components of starch, but they are again different. They are available in the starch in 1:3 ratio. Coming to the comparison between amylose and amylopectin. Amylose is actually consisting of around 200 to 2000 glucose units, whereas amylopectin is a larger component of the starch which consists of around 2000 to 20,000 glucose units. The major difference between amylose and amylopectin can be seen in their structure. When we see the structure of these amylose and amylopectin, so this is amylose and this is amylopectin. So, we can find out the difference between amylose and amylopectin by knowing their structure in detail. Now, Now, as we see that amylose is made up of glucose units, and the linkage between two glucose units is formed by a glycosidic bond. That is, a bond is formed between first carbon atom of the first glucose unit with the fourth carbon atom of the next glucose unit. So, in this way we can see that there is 1,4 glycosidic bond formed between the glucose units present in the amylose molecule. Whereas, coming to amylopectin, there is 1,4 glycosidic bond between the glucose units, and there is also 1,6 glycosidic bond which is seen in case of amylopectin. So, the major difference between amylose and amylopectin is that it is due to the number of and the type of glycosidic bonds which are actually formed. That is, 1,4 glycosidic bond is seen in case of amylose, whereas 1,4 and 1,6 glycosidic bonds are seen in case of amylopectin. Due to this, there is a difference in their structure. Usually, the amylose molecule, it appears linear. So, if it is 1,4 glycosidic bond, then it is quite linear. Yes? Okay. But whereas, due to the extra bond, that is 1,6 glycosidic bond present in amylopectin, we see a branched structure. So, this is 1,4 glycosidic linkage. So, this is how the molecules are arranged, and this is how the 1,6 glycosidic glucose units are actually arranged. So, this is the reason why it appears linear and amylopectin appears branched in nature. Now, amylose is linear. It does not mean that it is in just a straight line. It appears in a slightly coiled structure. So, this is how it actually appears. When we test a substance, a food substance for starch, for the presence of starch, then we just usually go for iodine test. When we pour few drops of 2 or 3 drops of iodine on the food material, then it turns blue-black, denoting the presence of starch. This is because of the presence of amylose in the starch as it's one of the component. In between these loops of the linear molecule of amylose, the iodine gets trapped over there, and it gives the blue-black color to that particular food substance. So, the blue-black color of the food substance is basically because of this amylose in the starch. So, this is about the structural difference between amylose and amylopectin as the components of starch. Let us learn few more details about starch. Now, let us learn about how starch is stored in the plants. Usually, we know that starch is stored in the form of swollen tubers. For example, as we see in case of potato. It is also stored in the form of grains, as we see in case of rice and wheat. But commonly, the form in which starch is stored is known as a grain. We call it as a starch grain or starch granules. These starch granules are of two types. So, they are compound and the simple grains. Now, how are they basically differentiated? It is based on the number of center points where the starch layers actually start their deposition. In case of simple grains, there is only one hilum. The center point is actually called as the hilum. So, from that particular point, the starch actually starts depositing around that. So, that is called as this is called as the hilum. But whereas in case of compound grains, we see many hilums. In simple grain, we see only one hilum, but whereas in compound grains, we see many hilums. You see here, there are around, in this example we have around 4 hilums which are actually present. That is the point from where the starch actually starts its deposition as a layer. So these deposited layers are of different types. Based on the position of the hilum, the simple grain is again divided into 2 forms, that is concentric simple grain and extrinsic simple grain. So if there is only one hilum and the starch layers are being deposited around it, then it is called as a concentric simple grain. And if the hilum is shifted towards the periphery and then we see the layers depositing over there, then it is called as extrinsic simple grain. The example for concentric is case of maize, and we see extrinsic simple grain in case of potato. Now coming to the compound grain, you can see that there are many number of hilum over here and the deposition of the starch is also around them. Other than the individual layers of starch deposited around them, there is also many other common starch layers which are around these hilum. So such type of grains are called as compound grains, and they are seen in case of rice and banana. Now we know that the food is prepared in the form of glucose in case of plants, but it is stored in the form of starch. Why is not the food being stored in the form of glucose only? Let us know the reason. It's quite interesting to know about this concept. Now, we know that in plants the food is synthesized or prepared in the form of glucose. The carbohydrates are prepared in the form of glucose. And this glucose is transported in the form of disaccharide, that is in the form of sucrose. So from one part of the plant to another part, they are transported in the form of a disaccharide, which is usually called as a sucrose. But it is stored in the form of starch. Now we know that the starch is actually a homopolysaccharide of glucose units. Each glucose unit is bounded by 1,4 glycosidic bonds, or in case of amylopectin we have both 1,4 and 1,6 glycosidic bonds. Now for the formation of these bonds, every time there is a loss of one water molecule. So for formation of one glycosidic bond, there is a loss of one water molecule. Yes, and we also know that glucose is a reducing sugar. It is very reactive. It is highly reactive molecule. Such a highly reactive molecule is not opted by the plants for storing the food. The plants require more stable and compact molecule for their storage of excess food. So for that, they store the food in the form of starch. Now, for the formation of each and every one glycosidic bond, there is a loss of one water molecule. That means, for example, if there are 100 glucose molecules which are involved, 100 glucose molecules which are involved, then for the formation of the bonds between them, there is around 99 water molecules can be removed from that particular molecule or the substance. So here the molecule becomes more compact due to the loss of 99 water molecules over there. So that means more number of glucose molecules involved in the formation of that compound, then there is more loss of water molecules, and henceforth the molecule becomes more and more compact, and such a compact molecule is easy for storage. That is the reason why the starch is usually seen as the storage compound in case of plants. Now, what if the plant wants glucose from the stored product? That is conversion of starch from glucose. It's quite easy because the plant has many hydrolytic enzymes. Hydrolytic enzymes. These enzymes can easily break these bonds and then the glucose can be easily produced. So this is the reason why the food is stored in the form of starch rather than in the form of glucose. Hope you have understood the concept. Thank you.